In this video, I'm going to explain the phrase, "Everyone is you pushed out," which is an important concept in the teachings of Neville Goddard, and is a game changer when it comes to understanding your own personal reality. Essentially, this phrase suggests that every person you meet or interact with is really a reflection of yourself, pushed out into the world. For example, one of the biggest misconceptions about relationships is that we always think that the problem lies with the other person. And we often believe if the other person would just change or behave differently, then everything would be okay. But the truth is, in these situations, we're often reacting to our own repressed emotions, fears, and desires that we see mirrored in the other person. We think that the issue is outside of us, but in reality, it's within us. It's our own projection. So this is the concept of everyone is you pushed out in action. Hi, I'm Jeff, and I teach practical and spiritual methods for organizing and empowering your life. So let's now dive into this concept and figure out what it means for your own personal development. So the phrase, "everyone is you pushed out," is a concept popularized by Neville Goddard, a renowned spiritual teacher known for his teachings on the power of the imagination and the nature of reality. The idea suggests that the people and circumstances in our lives are a reflection of our own inner beliefs, thoughts, and assumptions. So think of it like this. Imagine your consciousness as a mirror, right? So whatever you think and feel gets reflected back to you through your interactions with other people. So this means, for example, that if you believe in your own self-worth, people will treat you with respect. And if you don't, if you have issues with self-esteem, then your reactions will result in the opposite. So essentially what this tells us is that the external world mirrors our internal state of mind, meaning that how we perceive others and situations is influenced heavily by what we believe to be true about ourselves. So Neville Goddard taught that by changing our internal thoughts and assumptions, we can directly influence our outer reality and relationships. So this very empowering concept encourages all of us to take responsibility for our experiences and to use our imagination consciously to shape the world around us. So again, just to summarize all of this phrase means that everything you experience in the world is a reflection of your inner state. So if you believe that life is hard, you'll likely encounter more challenges. And if you believe the opposite, if you believe life is easy for you and you have amazing luck, then that's how your life will be. So your thoughts, your feelings, and beliefs shape your reality. So now let's take a look at this concept in action. So how does this concept relate to our everyday lives? So just think about it. When someone does something that triggers a strong emotional response within you, isn't it usually because it's touching on something deep within yourself? It could be a fear of rejection, or a sense of insecurity, or a past wound that's still hurts. Whatever it is, it's always your own stuff. That's what's causing the reaction. The other person is just a catalyst, a mirror reflecting back to you what's going on inside of you. So this is especially true when we're dealing with conflict or drama in our relationships. We always think the other person is the problem, but what if the other person is just manifesting our own thoughts and beliefs? What if they're showing us where we need to let go or forgive or to heal? In some ways it seems like a crazy idea, but it's one way that you can free yourself from a lot of that drama and conflict. Because here's the thing, when we take ownership of our own thoughts and emotions, we can start to see other people in a different light. So we can start to see that they're not the problem, they're just really a reflection of our own inner world and our own inner beliefs, especially about ourselves. So when we make that shift, everything changes. And by seeing things in your life through this lens, you can see where you still have a lot of inner work to do. And ultimately, if we change our thoughts and beliefs, and if we start to see the world and other people in a more positive, loving light, then our reality can shift. and we start to attract different people, different experiences, and a completely different life. So now let's talk about how you can use this to change your life. And before I dive into that, let me first give a brief personal example of this whole thing in action. So I used to have a colleague who I just could not stand, which it's funny when I look back on it, but really everything about this guy bothered me for whatever reason. And in our interactions, I would take a lot of things personally, even when there was no reason to do so. And in fact, this other person was really kind and generous with me, so it didn't really make sense that I reacted the way that I did. But the thing was, this guy was really the opposite of me, or that's what I felt. He was super outgoing, everyone seemed to love him, he was the life of the party. And the thing was, I never viewed myself that way. I was always more quiet. When I was younger, I was quite shy. And so, for whatever reason, working with this person and getting to know him, it triggered a lot of my deeper insecurities. And it had nothing to do with our actual interactions, but everything to do with what was going on deep within myself. So ultimately, I realized that this person was just reflecting back to me my own self-doubt and my fear of not being good enough, as well as other fears like worrying that I was too quiet or too shy or introverted, whatever it was. And the funny thing is that later on in life, after I had started working on those issues and insecurities, I never really got triggered again in the same way. Like today, I don't think anything like that would bother me. And if it were to bother me, I would just know that I have to do some more work in that area of my life. So the cool thing is, it's as though I learned the lesson and then I could move on. But that issue did teach me that there was a specific area of my life where I had to do some inner work because I still had some unresolved issues. So another very common example, and one I think many people can relate to, is when we're in a romantic relationship, right? So you're in a relationship and maybe your partner does something to trigger you, right? It triggers an insecurity. Maybe they do something you don't like, or maybe they don't respond to your text quickly enough. It could be really anything. Whatever it is, it's usually because we're reacting to our own deep-seated fears and insecurities, right? I mean, if someone doesn't respond to you quickly enough over text, it's really not about that. It's probably triggering something deeper within you. So what you can do is, what if you can see that your partner is just a reflection of yourself in a way, and that their behavior is showing you where you need to heal and let go, and where you have to do some inner work. And once you do that, that's where the real growth can happen. Because the really cool thing is that every one of us has an incredible amount of power within us. Every thought and feeling that we have shapes and influences our life. So when you understand that you're the creator of your experiences, and you're not just a victim of circumstances, you can change your thoughts and your beliefs, and you can create an entirely new life for yourself. So this concept ultimately helps us realize that everyone you meet and every situation you face is really a reflection of your inner self. You push your thoughts out into the world, and then they come back to you as experiences. So to recap, this concept of everyone is you pushed out is about taking responsibility for our thoughts and emotions and seeing others as reflections of ourselves. It's not always easy, but we can have a huge shift in our lives when it comes to personal growth and transformation once we learn to recognize this concept within our own lives. So if you've had any experiences with this concept of everyone is you pushed out, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. And if you're new here, please do subscribe for more content on personal and professional growth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.